It is time for the hill vlog. I'm basically on a small hill. I came down from the mountains yesterday because it was way too cold up there, and now I'm chilling here. I was at Spiserstulen a few days ago, which is the mountains over there. And now I'm in a small town called Lohm. I have my camp further down this mountain, and I've climbed a little bit up. There's still a big way up, but I don't really feel like going to the top. I'm here with Carly, and I've got some hibiscus tea I cooked over the campfire this morning. And today I want to talk about faith and silence, and how meditation is the key to getting everything you desire and doing whatever you please. I'm gonna put you right next to Carly down here. You'll have the honor of sitting with her. It is always the mind that says that something isn't possible. The nature of all beings is to be open-minded, to have faith, and to follow your heart. If you ask a baby what they want to be, they're going to say, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a movie star, I want to be a rock star. It is natural for humans to dream, to be ambitious, and to not doubt themselves, to not say what is and isn't possible. A baby has no idea what is and isn't possible. It just says, Mama, I want to go to the fucking moon. Eventually, we learn what is realistic. Society tells us what is possible and isn't possible. Society gives us these ideas. We internalize the limitations of the society we live in. And yet these limitations are always broken. Science used to say it's impossible to fly. Then the White brothers made the first plane. Science used to say that you would never be able to have wireless communication, and then we did it, you know. Science used to say that we would never be able to go to the moon because it would, be impossible. And then one day we did it. Pretty much every single thing that our ancestors believed was impossible has happened somehow. And think about AI, like go 5 years back and then imagine that in 5 years we would have like these artificial intelligences that can talk and shit, and they're still kind of stupid and they do silly stuff and they make slop content. But go back 5 years and ask a person, do you think we will have AI in 5 years? Do you think you will have a machine that can talk to you, that can make videos? And they would say, hell no. Time and time again, we break the limit of what we think is possible. So what is impossible? What can't happen? And the truth is, everything can happen. This is a divine play. Every single limitation and rule or law can be broken. There is nothing that isn't possible because fundamentally, life is a game of consciousness. And you can do whatever you believe you can do. That's the trick. But on a subtle level, you have internalized these ideas that there are things you can't do. Once again, a baby comes out of the womb and says, I want to go to the moon. Then one day the teacher says, dude, you can't become an astronaut, it's too hard. And the baby says, shit, I guess I can't become an astronaut. When the mind is silent, then you believe you can do anything. It is only the mind that has limitation. The heart is always open. And when the mind is silent, then you are open-minded. The mind always makes a barrier. It says, this can't happen, this isn't possible. If the mind simply goes silent, then you can do anything. When a musician or artist goes on stage, then one or two things happen. Either their mind is silent and they just play. They get in a flow state, they just do it. Or they start thinking. And then they start thinking, shit, can I do it? Maybe I can't do it. Then they start panicking, then they can't do it. And an athlete, or really anyone else, whatever you do, whatever your art or craft or work is, you will essentially find success once you get into a flow state, once you no longer question yourself. If you are afraid you will fuck it up, then you will fuck it up. If you doubt yourself, then it will go wrong. If your mind is simply silent, then you can do it. It's always the mind that sets the limits to what you can't do, the limits to what you can achieve. And when you get into the realm of spirituality, then it gets even more subtle, because there are yogis that, at least if you ask me, I've seen some miracles myself, and I believe in many more, and I believe anything is possible at this point. There are yogis who manage to completely break the standard, laws of the universe, or what we think is and isn't possible. Fundamentally, this body is made of energy. All matter is just energy. Even Einstein said E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass times the speed of light. The smallest particles in an atom are quarks, and quarks are a string of vibrating energy. It's called the string theory. So all matter is just spinning energy. You may think it's impossible for a human to fly, and 99.99% of people would agree. But if a yogi can transfer his state of being from matter to energy, then he can take the form of a spirit. Then he can float. His body no longer has a weight, because light and energy doesn't have weight. You would probably think that it's impossible to live without food, or without water, or without air. But there are yogis who manage to do this and who live in the Himalayas. The body fundamentally just requires energy. When we create ATP in the cycle of respiration, then we are burning calories to release energy, which we then store in ATP. But you don't necessarily need to get the energy from calories. You just need an energy source. ATP is like a battery, essentially. We have cars that require combustion, that require something to be burned, that require you to burn something and convert that to energy. But today we've also made cars that run on solar or on wind or on electric energy, right? Similarly, some yogis, they manage to absorb so much prana from nature and from the elements that they can live from that energy. And if you look, biologically, at the process of creating ATP, the body simply burns calories to release energy, which it then stores in ATP. Nowhere is it stated that the energy has to come from burning calories. If you can absorb energy from nature, then you can live off of that. And I have experienced similar things myself. I'm not able to live without food, but I know for a fact that you can absorb energy from nature. If I do pranayama for long enough, then my body will start vibrating, physically vibrating. And I've had a few times where I've done pranayama in public. One time in India at the Manikarnika Ghat, and another person came to ask me what I was doing and ask me questions about yoga. And when he touched my body, he confirmed that my body was buzzing. It was vibrating. He could touch me and feel my body buzzing. So it's by all means possible to absorb prana and energy from the elements and live off of that. And see, we need oxygen to burn calories, right? All fire requires oxygen. And quite literally, your body uses oxygen to oxidize food, to oxidize the sugar. It burns sugar, it burns fat, quite literally. You need the oxygen because you burn it. See, if you no longer need to burn calories, then actually you don't even need air anymore. So some yogis, they can manage to enter a state of meditation where they no longer need to breathe. It's called the breathless state. Or it's also called samadhi. Samadhi is when there is complete detachment from the body and you don't even need to breathe anymore. And personally, if I do a lot of mantras and have enough energy in my body, then I can easily hold my breath for about 3 minutes. And I can already slow my breath to the point where I breathe 2 to 3 times a minute. When you get into a deep state of meditation and you begin to absorb energy from the elements or directly from God, from the source, then you actually no longer need to breathe, because once again, we need breath, we need oxygen to burn calories. If your body no longer relies on burning calories, then you don't need air. So that's how some yogis, they manage to enter samadhi where they don't even need to breathe anymore. They don't need air, they don't need oxygen, they don't need food either. And guess what? The reason we need water is essentially to clean out the system, to clean out waste and to pee or to sweat, right? Theoretically, if you didn't need to pee, you wouldn't need any more water. You would just keep the water already inside you. The reason the body loses water is either because we sweat or because we pee and have to release waste, like bodily waste. And if you don't eat anymore, there is no bodily waste. So some yogis even manage to live without water. And once you get into spirituality and experience these things for yourself, or you meet some magical people, then you will realize that what you thought isn't possible, just, your mind will be blown. Literally every single law, or what you think is a law, can be broken. Everything you think is a limit can be broken. And fundamentally, it is the mind that sets the limits. You are an ego. You are a limited, fragmented consciousness that believes it is bound by the body and the mind. When that ego starts to break, that is when you begin to reconnect with God. Even the idea that you are not one with God already is a limitation. It is a thought, it is an ego. The mind says, I am this body, I am this person, I am this personality. You believe in yourself, you believe in your own existence, you think you exist. If the mind simply becomes silent, then there is no thought that says, I am this body, I am this mind, I am this person, I am this personality. When the mind becomes silent, you reconnect with God. Because it was the mind in the first place that said, I am not one with God. It was the mind that set the limitation. It's always the mind that limits you. If it simply becomes silent, then anything is possible. I need to catch my train of thought again. Fundamentally, the mind always sets limitations. When the mind is simply silent, then there are no limitations. Every limitation you have is a thought, it is a belief. Let's say you're about to jump into a pool from a high spring, and the mind says, shit, I'm scared, I can't do it. Then you can't do it. But if the mind is simply silent, then there is no fear, there is no limitation, there is no boundary, you can just jump. It's the same with life, and it's very much the same with spirituality. It is the mind that sets the limits. It is the mind that says what you are and what you are not. It is the mind that says what you can and can't do. If you believe that you are a normal person that can't find God, that has to be stuck in society, then that is what will happen. But if you become silent and open-minded and just meditate, then one day you will see God. You don't need to think of God or to believe in God to see God. You just have to be silent and open. That state of openness will lead you to everything. Because fundamentally, it is the mind that sets the limits, that says what is and isn't possible. When the mind is silent, there is no voice, there is no thought saying what can and can't happen. And the heart, on the other hand, is brave. The heart just, wants to fuck around and find out. The heart is curious. The heart is open. It's always the mind that says, nah. Even in relationships or, or just friendships, you will see that when people love each other, they're very silent. They don't say a lot. They just, hang out and they chat. When people are angry at each other, then they say a lot. They think a lot, When you love someone, you feel it. When you hate someone, you think it. When you hate someone, then you think about all the reasons to hate them. You hate the way they talk, the way they walk, the way they act, Or you hate their opinions on something, their ideology, whatever. You think they are a shitty person. If you love someone, you just feel it. You just admire them. When you listen to music, if you like that music, you just sit down and you shut up and you enjoy it. If you hate a song, then you think, oh, this guitar riff sounds bad, or his voice is out of tune, or the lyrics are corny, or the mix is bad. If you're eating a pizza and you love it, then you don't think anything. You just say, wow, this is tasty. If you don't like the pizza, then you say, oh, there's way too much salt. It's too oily, or the ingredients are bad. Whenever we separate ourselves from something, whenever we hate something, whenever we limit ourselves and try to put a barrier between us and something else, we do with the mind. The mind says, this isn't me, I don't like this. The mind creates separation. The mind and its thoughts create the reasons to have conflict, to separate yourself from other people. On the other hand, when you love something, there is simply silence. It is the same with life, If let's say you're trying to learn guitar, and you think, oh no, I can't learn guitar, I will never be good at guitar, I can't do this, then surprise, you can't do this. If you just shut up and practice, then eventually you will learn it. And this goes for anything. In the beginning, when I, tried hiking and sleeping in the woods and making campfires, I sucked at it. I was horrible. But I just said, whatever, I'm going to learn it eventually. When I first started playing guitar, I sucked at it for years. But I didn't say I can't do this. I didn't say it's never going to happen. I just said I think it's fun and I'm going to keep doing it. And now I'm pretty good at it. I just began fishing and I haven't caught anything yet. I'm horrible at it. But guess what? I'm going to keep doing it. I'm not going to say this can't happen. I'm not going to say I can't do this. I'm just going to keep having fun and eventually it's going to work. This is the trick to achieving anything in life. Just stop thinking. Don't say I can't do this. Don't say it's not possible. Just enjoy yourself. Have fun. Keep practicing. And eventually you will learn it. And that goes for literally anything. It goes for any hobby. It goes for any craft or skill. It goes for any job or any kind of work. Just stop saying I can't and just be silent. Let yourself enjoy it. Let yourself love it. And if you do it enough, it will eventually work out. And it's the exact same spirituality. Don't say I can't connect to God. Don't say I'm not a yogi. Don't say I'm an ordinary person, because that is the trap that people get into. They think they are separate from God. They think that to become a yogi you must be a special person. To be a yogi you just have to be silent. If you can shut up, then you are a yogi. If you can shut up, then you are a monk. The only way to be a normal person is to think that you are a normal person, and to think that you are bound, and to think that you can't do whatever you want. If your mind becomes silent, then there is no identity. Then you can do whatever you desire. When you learn to be no one, then you can become everyone. When the identity is broken, when there is no longer any ego, then you can do whatever you want. Because it is the personality and the ego and the mind and its thoughts that limit you, that make you think who you are and who you are not, that cause you to identify with this limited body, the limited mind, and within this mind, the limited personality and ego. For that to break, and for the consciousness to expand, to once again become one with creation and with God, all you need to do is be silent. You are essentially arguing with God. If you just sat still, then eventually you would feel God. You would realize you are God. Because there would no longer be any thoughts telling you that you are not. But your mind keeps saying, I am not God. I am separate from God. I don't know what God is. I'm a normal person. I can't become a yogi or a monk or a holy person or a saint or whatever. It is your mind limiting you. It is your mind telling you that you can't connect with God, that you can't be spiritual, that you can't live the life you want, that you can't do whatever you desire. It is always the mind that limits you. And the trick to overcoming all of that is just to shut up, be silent, and follow the heart. And the heart will always say, I want to try it. I want to do it. I love it. And the heart doesn't care if it doesn't work out in the first place, you know? If you're trying to practice guitar and you suck at it, then it's the mind saying, I suck, I can't do this, I'm never gonna be able to achieve it. The heart just enjoys it. If you stay with the heart and just enjoy the process, then you will get there eventually. Let's say you try meditating for the first time, and then, you know, you can only meditate for maybe like 5 minutes. Then afterwards, you're gonna be like, shit, I suck at meditating, I will never become a yogi, I will never, you know, find God. It's the mind saying that. The heart hasn't said anything. If you can just shut up and stop judging yourself, then anything is possible for you. Then you just keep going. Do it again the next day. Try again. It is only you saying, I can't do this, then getting disappointed, not living up to the mind's expectations, and then stopping. If you stop the expectations, if you stop the thoughts that say, I can't do this, then it's going to happen. Fundamentally, it is simply the mind that draws the distinction between what is and isn't you, what is and isn't possible. And the ultimate truth is that you are pure consciousness. You are Shiva. You are nothing. You are everything. You are all of the creation. You are consciousness itself. There is no difference between me and Shiva. There is no difference between me and Kali. There is also no difference between me and this stick. At the end of the day, my hand is made of carbon. This tree is made of carbon. I'm also the same as this rock. Because even though this rock is made of like silicates and other minerals, those minerals are made of the same electrons, protons, and neutrons that I am. And those electrons, protons, and neutrons are made of the same quarks that I am. And those quarks are made of the same energy that I am. And that energy is what has made everything. So even scientifically, there is no difference between you and the rest of existence. You simply believe you are separate. You believe you are something else. And it is only that belief which separates you from God, which separates you from life. If you can simply meditate for long enough, and if you can stop thinking that you are not one with God, that you are not one with life, then you will feel it, you will realize it. And you will start having visions of God. You will see deities and shit. And the key to having spiritual experiences and to seeing the deities, or having like a vision of Kali, to getting a darshan, or whatever you want to call it, the key to seeing spirits and to having a vision of God is actually once again to shut the mind, to shut up in your mind. When you go to sleep, then the mind becomes silent and you have a dream. You enter a dream state. Dreams are a trance state. Yogis can do the exact same thing. If you meditate for long enough, the brain begins to release DMT and you have a dream state. Now you just have it while you are conscious. When you are asleep, the mind goes silent because you are tired. You have to figure out how to silence the mind while still being awake. If that happens, then you have a dream while being awake. Then you essentially have a lucid dream while meditating. That is what we call a spiritual experience or a vision. And within these visions, it is possible to see spirits, it is possible to see gods. I have seen Kali, I have seen yoginis, I have seen even ghosts. One time I meditated at the cremation ground and I began seeing ghosts. One time I meditated in a friend's house, and I suddenly saw a lady in a green dress. And the room in which I was meditating was the room in which my friend's grandma had died. And that grandma had a green dress, and that dress was her favorite. So presumably I saw her grandma, simply because I was meditating in that room. It is also hidden in the iconography of Chinnamasta. She cuts the head. Why? Because the head is the mind. And Chinnamasta is the deity of the Agya chakra, of the third eye. And you see, when she cuts her head and holds it, then the blood flows back into her own body, and it flows into the bowls of her dakinis. So basically what the image of Chinnamasta is saying is, don't let the blood go to the mind. Don't let the prana, the life force, go to the mind. Don't let it reach the head. Don't let the energy go to your head. Normally, when you have thoughts, then the energy is going to your mind. It is reaching the brain. If the mind becomes entirely silent, then what happens is the energy begins to reach the pineal gland at the center of the brain. Under normal circumstances, the energy cannot reach the pineal gland, the third eye, because the brain is consuming all the energy. If the mind becomes entirely silent, then the energy begins to flow to the pineal gland, and you have a vision, you enter a dream state. You quite literally start tripping. The same molecule that your brain produces is DMT. And DMT, when taken synthetically, is known to be one of the strongest drugs ever. Literally, it is the strongest drug known to man. It is the same stuff that is in ayahuasca. That drug is produced in small quantities in the pineal gland in the brain. And if you learn to hack it by meditating, by becoming completely silent, then it will reach the pineal gland, release DMT, and you will have a trance state, simply by silencing your mind. And that is when you will have an experience beyond the body. You will have visions, or you will even completely experience yourself from a third person. Your consciousness will leave your body. And to prove this, you can see right now, my eyes, they are flickering, right? From my perspective, I'm just holding my eyes closed. I'm not. If I'm blinking, it looks like this. You see how fast they flicker? I can't do this naturally. When you are high energy, and when the energy finally reaches the pineal gland, then your eyes will start vibrating. When we have dreams, it's called REM sleep, REM, rapid eye movement. When the body is in the state of dreaming, the eyes start flicking rapidly. And you will see this with yogis too. That when they meditate and get into a deep trance, their eyes will start doing this. If you want to try this at home, then sit in lotus posture. This will stop the energy from flowing out of your body through your feet. Then hold in your stomach, because this will stop it from leaking from the lower chakras. Then hold your tongue to the roof of your mouth and try staring. Imagine you're staring up at your third eye. And if you do this without thinking while meditating, then energy will start to flow to your third eye. And if you do that for long enough, you will start seeing shit. Secret tricks from Mr. Chimera here. So the trick to getting anything you want out of life, to becoming whatever you desire, and realizing yourself as anything you desire, because you are all that exists, and all possibilities live inside you. And if it doesn't happen in this life, it can happen in the next. Or it can happen the day you achieve moksha. After this birth, I'm going to become a spirit, and the spirit can do exactly whatever it pleases, because it knows it is one with God. All possibilities exist for a spirit. All the yoginis, the yakshinis, even the spirits of folklore, like gnomes here in the north or whatever, all cultures have all these mysterious spirits and stuff. And those spirits are people. They are people that once again became light. When the mind stops identifying itself as a human, as a limited body, as an ego, it will eventually turn into energy. Because once again, all matter is just energy. Einstein said this. Heisenberg said this. Oppenheimer said this. It is the principle behind nuclear fission and atom bombs. You can split a uranium atom into energy. You can destroy matter and convert it into energy because all matter is just energy. The thing holding this energy, the thing that causes this energy to take a limited form, to take a physical manifestation, is the ego. And that ego has a limitation. It says, I'm a human, so this energy takes the form of a human. When that ego gets dissolved, when the self dies, then either upon death or when yogis consciously dissolve, many yogis, they commit almost suicide, basically. They will literally dissolve their own body at will when they achieve moksha. Because you are converting your body into the state of energy, the original state of energy. You are just energy that is bound by the ego into a state of physical matter. If that illusion completely breaks, and if you truly realize that you are energy, you are God, then you are freed from the body and from material life and from samsara. You are freed from reincarnating. It is also the mind that keeps you reincarnating. The state of mind you have upon death is what dictates what happens after you die. Let's say you have an animal, right? And it thinks, I'm a pig, I'm a pig, I'm a pig. Then eventually that pig dies. Let's say it gets slaughtered and turned into bacon, right? The spirit of that pig then has two options. Either that spirit continues saying, I'm a pig, I'm a pig, I'm a pig. If it keeps saying I'm a pig and thinking it's a pig and being limited to that idea, it will reincarnate as a pig. At some point, even the spirit of that pig will realize, I'm not an animal. I'm not this body. I'm not this pig. I'm the spirit. When that realization happens, then the animal can move on to another birth, perhaps as another animal, as a different animal, or at some point as a human. When the spirit expands, when the consciousness expands, and when it is no longer bound by limiting beliefs, it will be able to take the birth as something higher. At some point, that pig will die, and the soul will say, I'm not a pig. I can be whatever I want. I want to try being a human. And then, bam, you have earned a human birth, and here you are. Now you run around thinking, I'm a human, I'm a human, I'm a human. Then you die at some point. Let's say you get a heart attack. You've been eating too many Big Macs, right? Then your soul exits your body and goes back to God. And God says, who are you? And you say, I'm a human. My name was William, and I worked in an office. And then God's going to be like, sure, you're a human. You like working in the offices. Back you go. You're going to be human again, and you're going to work in an office again. So the belief you have about yourself decides where you reincarnate. And this is something you hear from many traditions. Quite specifically from Tibetan Buddhism and the Tibetan Book of the Dead. They say that whatever trajectory the mind has in life will continue in death. Whatever you have been thinking in life will continue in death. While you are living, you have the ability to change your beliefs. But essentially, once you die, you are on autopilot. This is why ghosts, they hang around like haunted houses, because they continue to hold on to the identity of who they were. The body may have died, but the ghost still thinks, I'm this person, I live in this house, right? I'm going to try to not go too off track here, and I'm going to have to get some more tea here. going to give some to Kylie as well. And to you if you would like. So whatever state of mind you die in is the state of mind that will dictate where you incarnate. The beliefs you hold at the moment you die will choose how you reincarnate. While living, you have the option to change these beliefs. Let's say you are, and this is going to sound a bit controversial to some people, because people think that like poverty is or that success is based on luck. It isn't. Success is based on belief. Let's say you have a poor person who has been living in poverty, and they internalize that belief. You also see that poor people, they keep thinking of themselves as poor, even if things change. Even if they get money, they will still be stingy. They will still like try saving money all the time because they have an identity of being poor. When that soul dies, God will be like, who are you? Where do you want to reincarnate? And the soul will say, I'm a poor person. And God will put you back in a poor household until you learn to believe you're rich. This might sound ridiculous to some, but this is how things work. You incarnate into the circumstances that you believe you are worthy of, that you believe you belong in. Let's say, or let's look at the relationships, right? What you see pretty much all the time is, let's say a woman has daddy issues. She's had trouble with her dad. So when she grows up, she's going to unconsciously want to find a man who is like her dad. She's going to want to find a person who is somewhat abusive towards her. She's going to be attracted to a bad boy. And vice versa, men who have mommy issues, they will want like a dummy mommy. They will unconsciously find a woman who mistreats them. And even on a very peculiar level, we are attracted to that, you know? That's why women with daddy issues always like want bad boys, and men with mommy issues, they want dummy mommies, right? So we are unconsciously attracted to a bad relationship. And you will see that people who are unconsciously attracted to bad relationships will keep finding themselves in these relationships. Women, a lot of the time, who have this unconscious attraction, they will wonder why men are shit. They think all men are trash, but they keep finding men who are trash because unconsciously that is what they seek. And men who are like simping and like glorify women too much and don't respect themselves, they will always try to find a woman they can put themselves beneath. They will always try to find a woman who is above them. They have no respect for themselves. And then they wonder why women never like them back. It's because you are trying to find women who don't like you back. It's because you are trying to find women who neglected you, who treated you like your mother, right? So people have these unconscious tendencies that keep repeating. And let's say you die as a man, in this case, and God says, or well, God asks you about your relationships. God says, who loves you? And you say, women don't love me. I can't get laid. Women don't like me. All women are shit. Then guess what? God is going to put you back into a household where you have a shitty mother who doesn't love you, and you won't be able to find love. And vice versa with like with women who have daddy issues. Your unconscious belief about love, about relationships, about friends even, keeps repeating until you break that pattern. This is karma. This is thoughts, right? Karma is the beliefs you have about yourself that limit you. And these beliefs continue to shape your life, and they follow you from lifetime to lifetime until you break them. At some point, that dude who has mommy issues and simps for women, he's gonna meditate and wake up and say, shit, I've been a simp. I glorify women, and I keep seeking women who disrespect me. I deserve love. And that day, things are going to change for him. Finally, he will be able to find love. And once he dies and God asks him, who loves you? He will say, everyone loves me. I deserve love. I should get love. And he will be put in a household that is loving, because now he believes he's worthy of love. And vice versa with women who have daddy issues. As long as you believe you are unworthy of love, you will keep attracting that in life, and you will incarnate into that in your next life. Because the mind shapes your reality, it shapes who you are, it shapes where you reincarnate, it shapes what is and isn't possible for you. I'm going to have to wrap this up before I start yapping too much. And the greatest trick here is simply to become silent. If you are silent and you die, then God says, who are you? And you say, I'm nothing. I don't exist. I'm nothing. I'm no one. I am Shiva. I am God. Once you no longer have an identity, once you no longer have an ego, once you are no longer bound by the mind, you are not bound by reincarnation. Let's say a normal person dies and they say, oh, I'm a man, and I like watching football and working, and I can't get laid. Then surprise, God is going to say, hey, Mr. Office worker who can't get laid and likes watching football, I'm going to put you back in that life until you break that pattern, until you realize yourself as something more, until your ego starts to dissolve and creates new possibilities. The less identified you are with yourself, the less limited you are by your ego, the more potential you have, the more things can happen to you, the more your consciousness is open to, and the more you can manifest. And if it dissolves entirely, then you will say, I don't exist. I'm no one. I'm nothing. I'm Shiva. In other words, I am God. Then you become one with God once again. When the ego dissolves entirely, then you realize you are one with God, because all along it was this mind saying, I am not God. It was the mind saying, I am this, I am not that. I am William, I am not the tree. I am William, I am not Kali. I am William, I am not God. I am this, I am not that. If you no longer say, I am this, then you are also no longer saying, I am not that. If I stop saying, I'm William, then I'm also no longer saying, I'm not Kali. When there is no longer an idea of what you are, then there is no longer an idea of what you are not. The boundary breaks, and once again, you become one with life and with God. And all along, and to repeat myself for God knows what time, it is the mind that limits what you are and what is and isn't possible. It is the mind that sets the limits for reality. It is the mind that binds you. If you simply break this mind and its thoughts and its ego and its identity and the beliefs about who you are, then everything becomes possible. So the key is to shut up and enjoy life. Meditate. And whenever the mind says, I can't do this, just question it. Say, God, that's bullshit. I can do anything. Whenever the mind says that something isn't possible, then question it. Say, mind, don't talk shit. Be silent, okay? Whenever the mind tells you what isn't possible, then just say, shh. I'm not going to listen to your mind. You can shut up. You can go in the corner of shame, and you can sit there where you belong, because I don't need you to tell me what is and isn't possible. It's always the mind saying, this can't happen. I am this, I am not that. I can't achieve this, I can't do this, or whatever. And you think these thoughts are yours. But see, if you're the one having the thoughts, then how can the thoughts be you? If you're the one who has this body, who has this mind, then how can the body, the mind, and its thoughts and its beliefs be you? This mind has, in a sense, enslaved your consciousness. You are consciousness experiencing itself as a body, and this mind has tricked you into thinking that you are this mind and this body, because that is how existence works. The only way for us to have this play of life is for consciousness to fragment itself and forget its true nature, and to then identify with that limited being, with that fragmented state of consciousness. You believe you are the thoughts, and these thoughts say, I'm William, I'm this body, and this person, I'm not one with God and creation. But have you realized it's not even you thinking those thoughts, it's the mind, and you are not that mind. These thoughts of who you are not you. You are not what you believe you are not even the one believing it. You are not who you think you are. You are not even the mind thinking it. That is the divine comedy of life. That you have been trapped by your own thoughts. You are God who has fooled themselves into thinking that they are not God, that they are a limited being. And you identify with these thoughts, with the mind that thinks these limiting beliefs, with the mind that has this identity. And if you simply become silent, then it unravels. The ego dissolves, and once again, you become one with God. And I've yapped for way too long. Hopefully, this has made sense to you. You have enjoyed it and have found it useful. And I wish you the best. Jema, Jema, Jema.